What if the stories you tell yourself about why things didn't work out are the exact reason you keep failing? The excuses feel real, they sound logical, but they're keeping you trapped. Today, we're exposing the self-defense mechanism that's secretly sabotaging your growth. Why your brain loves excuses more than it loves success. Let's start with something nobody wants to admit. Failing doesn't hurt as much when you have a good excuse. Your subconscious knows this. That's why it's become a master storyteller, crafting elaborate narratives about external factors, bad timing, and impossible circumstances. The story sounds convincing because you've told it so many times. You actually believe it. Here's what's really happening in your brain. Research from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology shows that self-justification triggers the same reward pathways as actual achievement. Your brain can't tell the difference between solving a problem and explaining why you couldn't solve it. Both feel like resolution, except one moves you forward, and the other keeps you spinning. And here's the trap. All of that might even be true, but truth and usefulness aren't the same thing. A true excuse is still an excuse. It still removes your power. It still puts you at the mercy of external conditions. And as long as you're waiting for perfect conditions, you're not taking imperfect action. The people who actually win in life have a different operating system. When something goes wrong, they skip the explanation phase entirely. They go straight to, what's in my control? What can I change? What's my next move? No drama, no story, no defense, just adjustment and forward motion. You want to know the real difference between someone who grows and someone who stagnates. It's not intelligence. It's not resources. It's not luck. It's the willingness to be wrong without needing to explain why. To say messed up without adding because. That period at the end of I messed up is where growth begins. But most people can't handle that discomfort. So they add the because and then another because until they've built a fortress of justification that protects their ego but suffocates their potential. What if the comfort of being right is costing you the opportunity to be better? Esse admitter falhas faz sua maior vantagem competitiva. Here's something wild. The most successful people you know have failed more times than you've even tried. The difference isn't that they don't make mistakes. It's that they don't waste time defending them. They fail fast, learn faster, and move on before you've finished writing your excuse. Let me show you how this plays out in real life. Two people apply for the same promotion and get rejected. Person A spends the next month explaining why the process was unfair, why their manager had favorites, why the system is broken. Person B spends 3 days feeling disappointed, then asks for specific feedback, identifies skill gaps, and creates a development plan. 6 months later, guess who gets the next promotion? Not the person with the better excuse, the person with the better response. Because companies don't reward your ability to explain failure, they reward your ability to overcome it. The excuse habit is sneaky because it feels productive. You're analyzing the situation, considering factors, showing awareness of complexity. But analysis without accountability is just sophisticated avoidance. You're not processing the failure, you're postponing the lesson. And here's the part that really stings. People can tell when you're lying to yourself. They might not call you out directly, but they feel it. That's why chronic excuse makers lose credibility even when their excuses are technically valid. Because everyone knows that someone who always has a reason for why things didn't work will always find a reason to not make things work. Contrast that with someone who says, I missed the deadline. I didn't manage my time well. Here's my plan to prevent this next time. That person just earned respect in 30 seconds. Why? Because accountability is rare, and rare things have value. There's a concept in psychology called locus of control. People with an external locus believe outcomes are controlled by outside forces. People with an internal locus believe outcomes are controlled by their own actions. Studies consistently show that internal locus correlates with higher achievement, better mental health, and greater life satisfaction. Translation: when you stop blaming circumstances and start owning choices, everything improves. Not because circumstances change, but because you do. Real talk. Are you building a case or building skills? Como transformer cada fracaso em feedback hacia vel imediatamente. Let's get uncomfortable for a minute. The reason you keep repeating the same mistakes isn't because you're stupid or unlucky. It's because you've never actually processed the mistake. You explained it, justified it, rationalized it, but you never owned it. And if you don't own it, you can't fix it. Watch what happens when you shift from defense to diagnosis. Instead of, I didn't get the job because they wanted someone with more experience, try, I didn't get the job because I didn't clearly demonstrate how my experience transfers to this role. See the difference? The first version requires nothing from you. The second version hands you a specific action item. This is the upgrade that changes everything. Every excuse can be reverse engineered into a lesson. Every justification can be transformed into a strategy, but only if you're willing to remove the buffer between your actions and your results. Here's a framework that actually works. When something goes wrong, ask yourself 3 questions. First, what did I do that contributed to this outcome? Not, what could I have done differently? That's still too abstract. What did you actually do? Second, what pattern am I repeating? Because isolated mistakes are learning opportunities. Repeated mistakes are character issues. Third, what's the smallest change I can make right now? The third question is crucial because most people overcorrect. They fail at something and decide they need to overhaul their entire life. That's just another form of avoidance. Real change is incremental. Real change is specific. Real change happens when you identify one behavior and adjust it. Think about athletes. When a basketball player misses a shot, they don't spend 20 minutes explaining why the lighting was bad or the court was uneven. They adjust their form and take another shot. That's it. No story, no justification, just correction and repetition. You need that same energy in your life. Fail, adjust, repeat. The loop should take days, not months, not years, and definitely not forever. Curiosity. What would change if you treated mistakes as data instead of disasters? If this is hitting different, hit that like button and subscribe, because you need this reality check more often than you think. Por que maturidade significa parar de se defender e caminhar a crescer? We're at the end, so let's strip away all the nice language. If you're still watching and thinking, yeah, but my situation is unique, you're exactly who needs to hear this most. Because, my situation is unique, is the ultimate excuse. It's the one that gives you permission to ignore every lesson, every strategy, every truth that challenges your comfortable narrative. Here's what maturity actually looks like. It's the ability to hear criticism without crumbling, to admit fault without spiraling, to be wrong without needing to rewrite history. That's not weakness, that's power. Because people who can't handle being wrong spend all their energy defending instead of improving. Look at the pattern in your own life. How many times have you had the same argument with different people? How many times have you faced the same obstacle in different contexts? If the same problem keeps appearing with different faces, the problem isn't external. You're the common denominator. And that's actually great news, because it means you have control. The shift happens when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what am I doing to create these results? One question leaves you powerless. The other question makes you the architect of your own life. Choose wisely. Here's your action step. For the next week, catch yourself. Every time you start to explain why something didn't work, pause, reframe. Instead of explaining, problem solve. Instead of defending, develop. Instead of justifying, grow. You'll notice something incredible happens. When you stop investing energy in being right, you suddenly have all this energy available for being better, and better beats right every single time. The people who transform their lives aren't smarter than you. They're not luckier. They're not more talented. They just stopped lying to themselves sooner. They stopped building elaborate defense systems and started building actual skills. They traded the comfort of excuses for the power of accountability. So here's the final question. Are you going to keep telling yourself why you can't? Or are you going to start showing yourself that you can? Because one keeps you stuck, the other sets you free. You'll question, What's one excuse you're dropping today? Drop it in the comments, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who's ready to stop explaining and start evolving.